How are you guys doing? Today is Monday, February 14th, 2022. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review the Elite matchups, performances, and Olympic events from yesterday, Sunday, February 13th, which is also known as Super Bowl Sunday. As we kind of navigate through, I'm of course going to take you through what's going on as we are shifting through the second half of the college and professional basketball seasons. We are, of course, covering international soccer as well because yesterday was still the weekend. And of course, we are still in the midst of the 2022 Winter Olympics. And not to mention, we are but the big main event that happened yesterday was Super Bowl 56 as the Los Angeles Rams became the Super Bowl champions, the champions of the 2021 NFL season, the very first season in NFL history in which every team played 17 games instead of 16. And this matchup would feature they would feature the 4 seeds in the AFC, the Cincinnati Bengals, and the 4 seed in the NFC, the Los Angeles Rams. Taking a look at how the scoring in this matchup went, the Rams scored the very first touchdown of this game as Matt Stafford threw a 17-yard touchdown pass to Odell Beckham Jr. That was his touchdown before he went out to injury. The Bengals would kick a field goal to end the first half. They were down by 4. The second half would see Matt Stafford open up with an 11-yard touchdown pass to Cooper Kupp. The 2-point the 2-point pass conversion failed after a failed hold. So that's how the Rams would be up 13-3. They just failed the conversion. Joe Mixon would throw a 6-yard touchdown pass to T. Higgins to put the Bengals down by 3 going into the half. It was 13-10. The Bengals would score a touchdown to start the third quarter to get the lead as Joe Burrow threw a 75-yard touchdown pass to T. Higgins, which was highly controversial because it did look like he did pull Jalen Ramsey's helmet, which would have messed with his ability to make a play on the ball, but alas, it wasn't called, so the play stands. So following that touchdown, Evan McPherson would kick a 38-yard field goal to put the Bengals up by a touchdown. The Rams would kick a field goal to put them down by 4, and then Matt Stafford's 1-yard touchdown pass to Cooper Kupp after a series of penalties by the Cincinnati Bengals defense would see the Rams take the lead with about 85 seconds left. And then the Bengals would not be able to convert on fourth down on the potential game-winning drive as the Los Angeles Rams would shut the game out and they would go home with this win in what may be Aaron Donald's last game, but he hasn't officially said yet. Taking a look at how both teams fared in their final game of this 2021 season. On the losing end of this matchup, the Cincinnati Bengals were led by their starting quarterback, the 2021 NFL Comeback Player of the Year, Joe Burrow out of Ohio State. He would complete 22 of his 33 passes as he threw for 263 yards and a touchdown. He would also run for 3 yards, so he had 266 total yards of offense. Their leading rusher was Joe Mixon, their Pro Bowler. He had 15 carries for 72 yards. He also had a 6-yard touchdown pass, and he had 1 yard receiving. He'd be responsible for 79 total yards of offense for the Bengals. Their elite wide receiver, Jamar Chase, would finish with 89 receiving yards on 5 receptions. He also had a 4-yard rush, so he had a total of 93 yards on the day. The Bengals' leading receiver was T. Higgins out of Clemson. He had 4 receptions for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had both of the teams receiving touchdowns. Their leading tackler was Logan Wilson. He had 9 of them on the day. Trey Hendrickson and DJ Reader would log the team's 2 sacks. Jesse Bates III and Chidobe Awuzie would log the team's 2 interceptions. And in his final game of the season, Evan McPherson, of course, went 2 for 2 as a kicker, as he would finish with 15 combined made field goals over the playoffs, which I believe ties Adam Vinatieri's record over a decade ago. On the winning end of this matchup, the Super Bowl champs LA Rams were led by their starting quarterback out of Georgia, Matthew Stafford, who was the Detroit Lions starting quarterback at the end of last season. He would complete 26 of his 40 passes as he threw for 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. He also ran for 6 yards. That's 289 total yards of offense. Their leading wide receiver was their elite wide receiver. Cooper Kupp had 8 receptions for 92 yards and 2 touchdowns. He even had 7 rushing yards, so he had 99 total yards of offense as he was named the Super Bowl MVP. The Rams' second leading receiver was Odell Beckham Jr. He had 2 receptions for 52 yards as he had the team's first of 3 receiving touchdowns. On the defensive side of the ball, the team's leading tackler was Darius Williams. He had 8 total tackles on the day. Ernest Jones, their linebacker, had 7 tackles as he had a sack. A'Shawn Robinson, their defensive tackle out of Alabama, finished with 6 tackles and a sack. Leonard Floyd, their linebacker out of Georgia, finished with 5 tackles and a sack. Their goated defensive tackle, Aaron Donald, out of Pittsburgh, finished with 4 tackles as he had 2 sacks and picks up his first ring. And their elite defensive end out of Texas A&M, who was a former Super Bowl MVP, Von Miller, finished with 2 tackles on the day as both of his tackles were sacks. The Rams combined for 7 total sacks against Joe Burrow, who was coincidentally who at the same time, not coincidentally, is the quarterback who was sacked the most times in the NFL this season. And the Rams kicker, Matt Gay, was, of course, 1 for 1 on his field goal when they needed him to. With this win, this is the second time that the Los Angeles Rams have won a Super Bowl in their franchise's history. The last time they won was 22 years ago, virtually the span of my entire lifetime, and I was actually in the building for that Super Bowl where the Tennessee Titans came up 1 yard short of potentially tying the game as the Rams won Super Bowl 34. And with that said, I want to congratulate the Los Angeles Rams for winning the last football game of the 2021 season. This season will not pick up again until about September. So, of course, congratulate to the Rams and, of course, the Bengals for making it this far, as they are now the official reigning AFC champs. Taking a look at what happened in college basketball yesterday, starting with the third-ranked team in the nation, the Purdue Boilermakers hosted the unranked Maryland Terrapins. Purdue would end up beating Maryland 62-61. They won this matchup by 1 after they outscored Maryland by 3 in the first half. On the winning end of this matchup, the third-ranked Boilermakers were led in scoring by their starting guard, Sasha Stefanovic. He finished with 17 points and 2 steals in 38 minutes. He shot 5 for 13 from the field, 5 for 9 from 3, and a perfect 2 for 2 from the foul line. With this win, the third-ranked Purdue Boilermakers are 22-4. They are 11-4 in the Big Ten. They have the second-best record in their conference, right behind Illinois. With this loss, the unranked Maryland Terrapins are 11-14. They are 3-11 in their conference. That is the second worst record, right ahead of Nebraska for the time being. Looking at the 13th ranked team in the nation, the Illinois Fighting Illini were able to keep their best record in the Big Ten after they beat Northwestern 73-66. They won this matchup by 7 after they outscored Northwestern by 14 in the first half. On the winning end of this matchup, the 13th ranked Illini were led in scoring by their starting center Kofi Cockburn and their starting guard Alfonso Plummer. Cockburn finished with 19 points, 15 rebounds, and 6 turnovers, all in 28 minutes. He shot 8 for 11 from the field. And, of course, Plummer finished with 19 points in 33 minutes. He shot 7 for 16 from the field and 5 for 11 from 3. With this win, the 13th ranked Illinois Fighting Illini are 18-6. They are 11-3 in the Big Ten. That is the best record in their conference. They are the only team that has less than 4 losses so far within conference play. With this loss, the unranked Northwestern Wildcats are 12-11. They are now 5-9 in the Big Ten. Last but not least, looking at the 24th ranked team in the nation, the UConn Huskies hosted the unranked St. John's Red Storm. UConn beat St. John's 63-60. They won it by 3 after outscoring St. John's by 2 in the second half. On the winning end, the Huskies were led in scoring by their starting guard, Tyrese Martin. He finished with 17 points and 8 rebounds in 25 minutes. He shot 6 for 13 from the field, 4 for 6 from 3, and he shot 1 for 2 from the foul line. With this win, the 24th ranked UConn Huskies are 17-7, and they are now 8-5 in the Big East at the moment. That is the third best record in the conference behind Providence and Villanova. With this loss, unranked St. John's is 13-1. They are 5-8 in the conference for the time being, and those are the three college basketball games that took place yesterday. Looking forward to what's going on today. The only ranked opponent that's going to be playing today will be the 6th-ranked Kansas Jayhawks. They host the unranked Oklahoma State Cowboys on ESPN. At 9 o'clock in Allen Fieldhouse. Kansas enters this matchup with a 9-2 record in the Big 12. Taking a look at what's going on with professional basketball, there were only two big games yesterday. Starting off in Boston, the Celtics hosted the Atlanta Hawks. The Celtics beat the Hawks 105-95. They won this game by 10 after outscoring the Hawks by 19 in the third quarter. On the losing end of this matchup, the Atlanta Hawks were led in scoring by their elite starting point guard out of Oklahoma, Trae Young. He finished with 30 points, 4 rebounds, 10 assists, and 2 steals in 37 minutes. He shot 9 for 26 from the field, 4 for 12 from 3, and a perfect 8 for 8 from the foul line. On the winning end of this, or I guess off the bench, first, their shooting guard Bogdan Bogdanovic finished with 26 points and 6 rebounds in 38 minutes. He shot 9 for 20 from the field and a perfect 5 for 5 from the foul line. On the winning end of this matchup, the Boston Celtics were led in scoring by their elite starting small forward, Jason Tatum. He finished with 38 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 assists, as well as 2 blocks in 40 minutes. He shot 13 for 27 from the field, 4 for 10 from 3, and he shot 8 for 9 from the foul line. Their starting center, Robert Williams III, finished with 10 points, 4 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 5 turnovers in 36 minutes. He shot 5 for 6 from the field. And, of course, with this win, the Boston Celtics are now 33-25. With this win, the Boston Celtics are currently holding on to the 6th best record in the East. They won their last 8 games. That is the longest active winning streak in the West or in the Eastern Conference for the time being. And it is actually the longest active winning streak in the NBA as well. They've won 9 of their last 10 games, and they now sit 4.5 games behind the first seed Miami Heat out east. With this loss, the Atlanta Hawks are 26-30. That is the 10th best record in the Eastern Conference. They've now lost their last 2 games. They've lost 5 of their last 10. Right now, they are sitting 10.5 games behind the first seed Miami Heat, as they would qualify for the play-in, because I totally forgot that the NBA had the play-in last year. Taking a look at what was the second game from yesterday, jumping out to Indianapolis, the Pacers hosted the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves were able to beat the Pacers 129-120. They won this matchup by 9 after outscoring the Pacers by 16 points in the second quarter. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Pacers were led in scoring by their starting small forward, O'Shea Brissett, and their starting point guard, Tyrese Halliburton. Brissett finished with 22 points, 13 rebounds, and 2 blocks in 37 minutes. He shot 9 for 18 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3, and their starting point guard, Tyrese Halliburton, would finish with 22 points, 5 rebounds, and 16 assists in 41 minutes. He shot 7 for 14 from the field, 6 for 12 from 3, and a perfect 2 for 2 from the foul line. Their guard off the bench, Lance Stevenson, finished with 21 points in 32 minutes. He shot 7 for 16 from the field and a perfect 6 for 6 from the foul line. Their forward off the bench, Jalen Smith, finished with 17 points and 12 rebounds in 23 minutes. He shot 6 for 10 from the field and 4 for 5 from the foul line. On the winning end of this matchup, the Minnesota Timberwolves were led in scoring by their elite starting small forward, Anthony Edwards. He finished with 37 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 steals in 39 minutes. He shot 13 for 25 from the field, 7 for 13 from 3, and 4 for 7 from the foul line. Their starting point guard, D'Angelo Russell, finished with 23 points, 2 rebounds, and 6 assists in 35 minutes. He shot 8 for 14 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3, and a perfect 4 for 4 from the foul line. Their elite starting center, Karl Anthony Towns, finished with 15 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 assists, alongside 6 turnovers in 22 minutes. He shot 5 for 12 from the field, 1 for 1 from 3, and a perfect 4 for 4 from the foul line. And with this win, the Minnesota Timberwolves are now 30-27. That is the 7th best record in the West. They've won 6 of their last 10. They now sit 16.5 games behind the first seed Phoenix Suns out west. With this loss, the Indiana Pacers are now 19-39. That is the 3rd worst record in the East. They've lost their last 6 games. That is the third longest active losing streak in the East at this moment. They've lost 8 of their last 10 games, and they now are currently sitting 8 games behind the 10 seed Atlanta Hawks. So that is what the NBA is looking like yesterday. Taking a look at what the NBA is going to look like today, because there weren't that many. There were only 2 games yesterday. There's a good amount today. The primetime game at 8 o'clock is going to feature the Chicago Bulls and the San Antonio Spurs in the United Center. The Bulls are currently holding on to the second best record in the East, and the Spurs are holding on to the 4th worst record in the West. At 10:30, the Los Angeles Clippers are going to host the Golden State Warriors. The Clippers are holding on to the 8th best record in the West, and the Warriors are holding on to the 2nd best record in the West. Taking a look at the other games that won't be on primetime at 7 o'clock, the Washington Wizards are going to host the Detroit Pistons in the Capital One Arena. At 7:30, the Brooklyn Nets are going to host the Sacramento Kings, and the New York Knicks are going to host the Oklahoma City Thunder. At 8 o'clock, the defending champs Milwaukee Bucks are going to host the Portland Trailblazers in Pfizer V Forum. And the New Orleans Pelicans are going to host the Toronto Raptors in the Smoothie King Center. At 9 o'clock, the Denver Nuggets are going to host the Orlando Magic in Ball Arena. And the Utah Jazz are going to host the Houston Rockets in Vivint Arena. And taking a look at what's going on with the soccer circuit, jumping first into the Premier League in England, Liverpool was able to beat Burnley 1-0 after its 40th minute goal from Fabinho would give them the 3 points they needed in the Prem. With this win, Liverpool is currently sitting 9 points below first place Man City with 1 less game played. Taking a look at what happened in London, the Tottenham Hotspur Club lost to Wolverhampton Wolves as Wolverhampton's goals both came in the first half. As with this missed opportunity, Tottenham is now sitting 3 points below 6th place Arsenal, as Tottenham sits 8th in the entire table. Looking at what's going on in La Liga, Barcelona is face off against Espanyol. They would finish with a 2-2 draw. Their first goal will come from their elite Spanish midfielder Pedri. And after Piqué picked up a red card in the 92nd minute, Luke de Jong would score in the 96th minute to tie the game up for Barca, giving them the 1 point they needed in the table. They still sit, even with Atletico, only ahead on goal differential, holding on to that 4th spot, that 4th Champions League spot as this La Liga season's coming to a close. Speaking of the teams that are sitting up there, Real Betis was able to beat Levante 4-2, as Betis is now sitting 3rd in Spain. They would see a brace from Nabil Fekir. Now that they're sitting up here, might as well let them give them a little bit of credit for getting this far. Looking out in the Bundesliga, Borussia Dortmund was able to beat Union Berlin 3-0. They saw a brace from Marco Reus, and then their lone second half goal came from Rafael Guerreiro. With this win, Borussia Dortmund is now sitting 6 points below first place Bayern with about 12 games left, just to give them. So now they're a little bit closer now that Bayern lost their game this week. In Italian Serie A, AC Milan was able to beat Sampdoria 1-0 as their lone goal came from Rafael Leao. Following this matchup, AC Milan is the team that is sitting on top after they drew, actually. And Juve was able to draw with Atalanta. Their lone goal coming from Danilo after Malinovsky's goal for Atalanta. Atalanta sitting 4th, they're sitting 2 points behind 4th place Juventus, as Juventus is sitting 7 points behind 3rd place Napoli, to get a sense of where the top teams in Italy are. And that's everything I've got for you. But leading into today, especially with going into the Olympics, first going off of yesterday's performances, because yesterday was the 9th day of medaling for the 2022 Winter Olympics that are officially taking place in Beijing this winter. Moving into the 12th day of the Olympics and what is now the 9th day of medaling. Taking a look at what took place, starting off with alpine skiing and the men's giant slalom run. The gold medal went to Marco Odermatt of Switzerland, as Slovenia took home the silver and France took home the bronze. In the women's 10-kilometer pursuit biathlon event, the gold medal went to Marta Olsbu Roisland of Norway. Sweden would take home the silver, as Norway would take home another medals. They took home the bronze. After the men's 12K pursuit, the gold medal went to Quentin Fillon-Maillet of France, Norway would take home the silver medal. The Russian Olympic Committee would take home the bronze. The cross-country skiing gold for men's 4x10K relay would go to the Russian Olympic Committee's team. Silver would go to Norway, as bronze would be awarded to France. Taking a look at what's happening in short track speed skating, the women's 3,000 meter relay final would see the gold medal go to Netherlands. Korea would take home the silver, and the People's Republic of China would take home the bronze. In the men's 500 meter final A, the gold medal went to Xiaowang Liu of Hungary. Konstantin Yevlev of the Russian Olympic Committee would take silver, and then Canada would take home the bronze. And then in the speed skating women's 500 meter, the gold medal will go to Erin Jackson of the United States, the first African-American woman to ever win a speed skating medal, and the first American to win the gold medal in over 2 decades, or in about 2 decades. Japan would take the silver in this medal, and Russian Olympic Committee would, of course, take bronze. Now, taking a look at where the countries sit in terms of the rankings, the team that currently holds the most gold medals is also the team that has the most medals, and that is Norway. Norway has 21 medals, which is 3 more medals than second place Russian Olympic Committee. The United States has the third most medals, as they are currently holding 16. Four nations, Germany, Austria, and Canada, are tied for fourth with 15 total medals. Trailing Norway in gold medals is Germany. Germany has 8 gold medals, which is the second most. The United States has the third most gold medals, as they have 7. Netherlands is sitting fourth with 6. Austria, Sweden, and the People's Republic of China are currently sitting 5th, as they both have 5 gold medals. Looking at the teams that have the most amount of silver medals as of right now, the Russian Olympic Committee, the United States of America, Austria, and France are the nations that have 6 silver medals. And then tying for the second place with 5, you have Norway and Germany, not to mention Italy as well. Looking at the team sitting at the top in bronze, right now Canada has the most bronze medals, as they have 10 of them. Sitting second with 8 is the Russian Olympic Committee, and then Norway has 7 of them, as they are in the top 3 for all medal categories. But with that said, that is virtually where we are, and once all of today's exhibitions and matchups are done, I'm going to come back tomorrow on Tuesday, February 15th, for another episode of The Elite. So until then, thanks for listening to this piece. I hope all is well, and I'll catch you with another episode tomorrow. Peace out.